All right, people. Day 14, how we doing, huh? Day 14, great day. 2 7s and you get a 14 if you're into that kind of thing. How about that? Now, the honeymoon's over. All right, we went to Hawaii. We had our hotel all inclusive. We were all dreamy on whatever it is that we thought it was gonna be like. We had our pina coladas, our lava flows on the beach. We had room service. We had our cake. We had a good old time, and now we just got home. It's the real deal now. It's where the rubber meets the road. You know what I mean? We're putting in the work now, okay? All of that fantasy that maybe we had about fantastic creations that we were going to make in our sketchbook, and we were going to get in there, and then we drew them, we were like, they turds. They ain't no good. I did not secretly improve over these past year or two while I was asleep. The tooth fairy didn't come and just go ahead and knight me as a rock star or a master or something. I didn't buy that magic pencil. You know, the magic pencil where everybody goes, oh, wow, so-and-so, he's a fantastic artist. Well, what pencil does he use? Well, I gotta get that pencil. I gotta get that pencil. I gotta get that pencil. I remember when I was, I did a little art schooling, and there would be people in there that they couldn't draw a lick to save their life, but they had every little device, they had every contraption, they had all the latest thingamabobs and whatnots, but they still couldn't draw. I always thought that was pretty funny. And you know, when you first kind of get around this area and you start doing this kind of thing, you think maybe that has something to do with it, but it don't. I seen some of the worst drawings made with the most expensive things, and then I've been out at a restaurant and watched a master just pick up the pen that he used to sign the check and bang out a fucking brilliant piece of artwork on a little paper menu at a Chinese joint that I kept. You know what I'm saying? Just while we were there talking and eating Chinese food, and he was just smoking his cigarette, just banging it out. It was incredible. Now, this was in Taiwan. This wasn't in America. You can't smoke in the restaurants in America. You know that. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, we got the momentum. It's starting right now. We got to keep it going. Right now is when you're starting to make some gains, you know, some gains. You're going to get some gains. You know, like they say it in the when you go to the gym. You're there for the first week or two and you're trying to figure out and learn how to do this. And then finally your body gets adapted to the exercises, and after 2 weeks is when you start to see the payoffs come in incrementally. You see the payoffs come in incrementally, bit by bit by bit. That's what's happening now. This is the gym. Your sketchbook is the gym, the laboratory, where you're going to get the gains. So stay with it. Stay consistent. Stay diligent. The longer you stay consistent, the more the gains will come in. If you interrupt it for longer than a couple of days or whatever, you're going to have to start that 2-week process over again. Waste another 2 weeks in the honeymoon phase before you can get those gains again. So stay consistent. You keep the gains coming in for as long as you can. What's important to keep going is you got to keep that fire stoked. So you got to always check and see, how's that fire doing? If your fire's low, you got to stoke the fire up again. You know what I'm saying? Now, sometimes you might sit down to draw and your mind is just flat on empty. That happens. Give yourself permission to step away, take a day off. Give yourself permission to go hang out with your family. Maybe go to get a nice dinner. Maybe go surfing. Or, you know, go play the guitar or play a couple video games and just let your mind decompress. The fact that you know that you can give yourself permission to do something like that, just that knowledge will enable you not to do it and to go further. Oh, I can go a little bit further. If I really get burnt out, I can just go ahead and take a day to myself. But I can go a little further. I can go a little further. And then before you know it, your fire's stoked back up and you don't need to take that day off. But it's always there in case you do. You see what I'm saying? It's a psychological trick. You know what I mean? Now, one of the main things I do to stoke my fire, besides the go for a walk, I go for a 20-minute walk a lot. I look through nature. I used to surf all the time. It's a little bit less now since I live in the desert. You know what I'm saying? I still got on my surfboards. I still go on surf trips. But I don't have that ocean just outside my front door like I used to. So I do physical things. I work out and all that kind of stuff. But one of the main things I do is I go through my library of books. And I go, oh yeah. I buy the books that get me excited. I don't buy the ones I'm supposed to buy or I feel obligated to buy. I buy the ones that I'm genuinely excited about. Because you got to ask yourself, why'd you get into this game anyway? Why'd you get into this art game anyway? You got into this art game because you had genuine enthusiasm, genuine desire. And that genuine desire was created by an image you saw. You got me? Now, that you want to create that same genuine desire in other people with your artwork. That's what we really want, isn't it? Ain't that what we really want? We want to be good enough to put something down on paper and have that magic of genuine desire transfer to the person that's viewing it. That's what we want. So that's when I buy books, when I buy things like that, that's what I look for. I look at my little needle inside my emotion, inside my heart. And if I'm looking at this book and the needle don't move, I don't buy it. If I'm looking at that book and the needle don't move, nah, I don't buy that one either. But if I look at this book over here and the needle goes boop, I pick that book up and I buy it and I put it in my library for that time when I need to stoke that fire. Or if I need to learn something, or if I need to reference something from it. That's how that works. Okay? Now, one of the books, I'm going to show you one of the books that I bought that stoked my fire. It's this book right here. Now, the title of the book is it's in Spanish or I think it's Spanish. Dibujante Nocturno. And it's by the artist Fran Garcés. I think that's how you say his name. Anyway, I'll put all the information like normal down below. Now this book is fantastic. When I get a little bit down on myself or something like that, I go through here and I look at his book. Now he draws all kinds of things that are like creepy crawly, evil, dragons. You know, there's nothing worse than going through a comic book or any form of art and the evil character really doesn't look evil. You know what? There's nothing worse than that. Am I right? It's just kind of like, okay, never mind. But you know, when they really look evil, now we're talking. I need a really evil character, you know? I need something really evil, a really evil dragon, or a really evil dinosaur. You know what I mean? Evil. And this guy does evil good, man. This guy does all kinds of stuff good. He also does fantastic fantasy. Ain't that something? So, whenever I'm down or whatever, on whatever it is that I'm doing, if I lose some of that steam, look at that. Ooh, right? That's a good looking evil person. Character, whatever it is. Demon, I don't know. But you need that edge, you know? If you ain't got that edge, it's kind of like they didn't make my cocktail strong enough. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, where's the bite? You know? But this guy does the bite nice. Anyway, I'll put all his information down below so that you can go and look him up. And he's got all kinds of other fantastic artwork. Fantastic artwork. So, if I'm running on empty, or my fire isn't stoked, I go ahead and look at something like that. Then maybe I find one or two pictures that really get me kind of excited, and I copy them, or I use them for reference and then make a drawing kind of similar, or something like that. But it's important to have a little bit of a library. You can find these books at discount bookstores, or you can buy them new, or on Amazon half off day, or used bookstores online, or thrift books. It's a fantastic place to get them too. I remember I was in Barnes & Noble one time, and I had this book. I'll get it out for next time. This guy had gone through Africa, and he had painted all of the ranges in Africa, and the animals and everything like that, and he made this fat book. And I remember I went to the Barnes & Noble, and it was in the bargain bin for $5. How could I not buy that book of this man's 6-month experience in Africa that he poured his heart and soul out into, put it on the pages, and then Barnes & Noble marks it down to $5? I couldn't believe it. So of course I bought that book. I got it in the library. I'll get it out next time. But that's what I'm talking about. That's how to stoke that fire. And then you jump back into your schedule, okay? Now, your schedule, you do like 2 hard days and 1 easy day, right? You do the anatomy, or you do the perspective, or you do the cubes for 2 hard days. And then maybe you do 1 fun day of something that you don't have to think as hard, or you don't have to hold yourself to as rigorous of a level of execution. And just have a good time. Just have fun. That'll give you the opportunity to recharge, to stoke that fire, so that the next 2 days you're ready to lock in again, and get her done. You know what I'm saying? Now, let me show you a couple sketches that I did last night. I was a little bit, it happens to me too. My fire was a little low, so I had to take a step back, stoke the fire a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I did this page. Of sketches. And when I did this page of sketches, basically what I was doing is just very loose lines. I'm just making stick figures, but trying to put them in a dynamic pose. I'm trying not to think about it too hard. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to just let my mind kind of put its tentacles out into space, and to feel around, and whatever it picks up, it pulls back and puts down on the page. Feel out, pick up, put back on the page. Sometimes I'll have an image that I downloaded or something like that, and I'll look at it. I'll say, "Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna start with that little primer right there, and then go on and do things like that." Maybe it's a sketched out pose that somebody did. Maybe you see my page and you say, "Oh, I like how he did that eye right there. I'm gonna do a whole page of eyeballs and not even think about it." And you'll start by copying that eye, and then you'll do different ones, and different ones. And before you know it, your 30 minutes is up, and you can breathe again, because that wasn't too bad. That was kind of fun. We got her done. You know what I'm saying? We can go ahead and move back on into that schedule the next day, and you're ready to do it, to lock down in on that hard stuff. You know what I mean? So that's how you stoke the fire. That's how you treat yourself with compassion when you're going through this. Now, you might be wondering, well, Ray, I tried to do a page like that, and it didn't turn out. I thought you could just tell me how to do it, and I'd be able to go home and do it right then and there. That's not how this works, people. This ain't that kind of information. Remember, we talked about this before. But it's okay, I'm going to remind you again. Two types of information. The first type is when I tell you 1 + 1 is 2, and you're like, got it. Instantaneously, I got it up in my mind. I got that theoretical cognitive information, and I'm going to be able to do the 2 + 2 is 4, 3 + 3 is 6. I got it down, no problem. Then there's the intuitive information that I'll tell it to you, but intuitively you can't go and recreate it. Okay? That comes with practice. That comes with learning how your paper feels when you make the stroke right. You know, when I got my lead over here and my pencil, and the lead has a blunted end on the end of it, when it flows over on that blunted end on the paper and it grabs that texture, the tooth of the paper, it feels like butter. That's how I know I'm doing it right. If I were to rotate it and put the point down, it feels all scraggly. It don't like it. The pencil's telling me, don't use me like that. Turn me back the other way. That's the right way to do it. The paper's telling me, no, don't scratch me like that. Turn it the other way with the soft end. Give me a nice, soft, smooth stroke. Don't give me that other stroke. And the same way it is with my nib pens here, right? There's a surface that's nice and buttery. Then there's a surface that's all jagged and jittery, and it says, oh, don't do me that way, buddy. You're doing me wrong, damn it. You're doing me wrong. So listen to your tools. They'll tell you when you're doing it right versus doing it wrong. And it's that sensitivity that you're trying to achieve. Okay? It's that sensitivity you're trying to get. So get it. Now, let me tell you one more thing before we're done. And damn it, I forgot to turn off the fan. I don't know if that's going to make a big difference on the audio. I just thought about that. See, I messed up too. Now, I'm going to hope this audio is good, but if it ain't, I'll have to do this over and you'll never see this. Can you imagine that? I don't know how long I've been talking, maybe like 10, 15 minutes. But let's hope it's good. Let's hope it's good. Now, I'm going to go ahead and magically turn off the fan, and I'm going to see if that changes things. Oh, that's so much better. Damn it, but it's all good. Now, I wanted to talk to you about the lesson today. All of that was just psychological talk, trying to prepare you as a vessel to draw. And here's what you're going to draw. The zoom cube. You see this zoom cube? This is the zoom cube. It's a cube in perspective. Okay? You got the part that's close to you is big and the part that's far away from you is small. So it's zooming in or out. You see what I mean, people? Now, the way you use the zoom cube is you put it over the part of the figure or whatever that you want to make dynamic in extreme forced perspective. In this case, you want it to be the hand. And then you draw the figure normally behind it. Now, look down here. You draw the figure, then you draw the zoom cube where you want it to zoom in at. Now, this is just a placeholder, and it envisions the abstract thought of the space that you're going to zoom in on the flat surface of the paper. And then within this box, you draw the arm, or whatever it is you want to draw. And the zoom cube will help you to understand what goes where and how big to make it. And you start out with the biggest thing, which is the surface of the thing that's closest to you, which is going to be the fist. And then you move back to the forearm, and then back to the arm, and then back to the shoulder. See how that works? And you connect the shoulder to the figure. Makes the perspective easy. Makes the forced perspective easy. Now you can even do it in 3 layers. You could put a zoom cube in the front, regular figure on the back, and then a zoom cube to zoom out on the appendages that are furthest away from the camera. Now this is a good technique and good training wheels to start with. Okay? So give that a try. Give that a try. Now, I wanted to share a little story about what stoked the fire for me originally, how I got into art. Now, I was 10 years old, so you got to imagine, at that time I hadn't quite developed a second Ray. I was just Ray at that time, not Ray yet, you know what I mean? Just a little Ray. And my family, my mom, and my brother, and my dad, but mostly my mom and my brother, we'd all three of us, we'd go to Burger King. And I loved Burger King because they had the Burger King Kids Club there with all the characters and whatnot. You know, they had a cool guy with the visor, and then they had all the other kids and stuff like that. And I liked it. I loved it. I was really into it. And I guess it was their version of the Happy Meal at that time. And of course, you'd get a toy or a sticker in the box and artwork and stuff like that. And I loved getting them. Well, one day, when I was 10, we went to the Burger King to get the Burger King Kids Club, and I knew that they were going to have, you know, their new campaign, their new artwork, or their new unrolling of whatever it is they were trying to promote, and it was coming out that day, so I was really excited that day. And so we go and we get there, and they have the decals on the window, and I look at it, what the hell is that? That ain't the Burger, that's not the character I know, that ain't the Burger Kids Club that we have. What is this? And the big decals look like some drunk guy had just drawn them, half-assed and whatnot. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, this is terrible. And then we went up, you know, to the cash register, and I got the Burger King Kids Club, got the meal, and they made it and brought it out to our table and put it down. And I looked at it, and I was like, the box looks like shit. Like, what is this? I got the toy out, and I was happy with the toy, but then I got the stickers out, and the stickers look terrible. And so I sat there as a little 10-year-old Ray, putting it down, arms crossed, criticizing the output of this campaign. And I was like, this is terrible, that's terrible, what is this? I was all worked up about it, you know? And so my mom looked at me and she said, well, do you think you could do any better? And I said, hell yeah, I could do better. And that's how it all started. The next day, my mom showed up with my very first sketchbook. And I still have it. And she had a couple pencils for me, a couple color pencils as well. And that's when I started doing the sketchbook. Because of that damn Burger King Kids Club. Can you believe it? Now here I am today. Maybe not thousands, but at least 100 sketchbooks later. And countless other hours of drawing and painting and whatever. And I'm talking to you about it. Trying to share that fire, trying to stoke that fire, trying to spread that fire. So go on, get out there, use that zoom cube, and get her done. Stoke that fire and fly, people. Come on, let's do this.